Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So yeah, we're gonna start our program soon. Just stay tuned. Just a second. So yes, this is Nihat, director of Gangnam Global Village Center. Actually, our center changed the name from the March 1st. Probably most of you never heard about our center. I would love just, give short introduction about our center just before presenting about our topic today. And all right, perfect. Our center is located in the center of Gangnam, just between Yeoksam Station and Gangnam Station. If you are living in Korea, you can get actually all supports by us with calling to us, or you can just visit our center and get all support like while staying in Korea, A to Z. Basically, there are 7 centers, which is called Global Village Centers. If you are comparing, like we have, I guess, 18 centers who's in charge of controlling the foreign resident business, and inside of them, 7 of them, there are Global Village Centers, and rest of them, there are multicultural support centers, and there are also foreign worker centers. Today, I'm going to give overall information about job in Korea, and also basically from today's class, you will learn many things about the market in Korea, the platforms, and also main points to care when you are applying for the job in Korea, and with the parts of the things actually you have to understand, and the opportunities and demand in the market in Korea, and the best ways to prepare. Also documents, interviews, and more. And I'd love to say one thing, like since we are having only an hour of the program, it's not going to be that easy to cover everything at once. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have short introduction about all, but later, like in future classes, we're gonna cover each of them one by one. And before starting our lecture, it would be really great if I can introduce myself. I'm director of this center, and I am a member for the Seoul City Foreign Residence Council. I'm also part of the KIP program, mentorship program. Probably you have heard about that. Like if you are willing to live in Korea for long term, it's better if you join these classes. And I'm advisor for global startups in KPC. And we have also like 2 communities, which one of them is Innovative Korea, and one of them is the Global Korea Professionals. And I'm doing translation for the GOICA, and also I would love to mention that I'm cultural ambassador of our country. And this part actually, when I was doing mentoring classes, I really wanted to mention this part, basically where we came and what we are doing in Korea. When you are dreaming something, like to start, because when I saw actually applications like most of you outside of Korea and willing to learn about the market in Korea, willing to know the employment market in Korea, it's not really easy to find information. But today, basically, we're gonna let you know what's happening after coming to Korea. This part actually I would love to just pass to give faster information for you. this is actually main things. Like when you are searching in Korea about the jobs, you have to be caring about the main points. Just a second. Just a second. Just a second. Sorry guys, sorry for inconvenience. Actually, some people, they came to the center for having online lectures, but unfortunately we can't organize these days the offline lectures. That's why we are conducting everything in online. If you are willing to listen, you can just join us on YouTube, or you can just follow us through the Zoom link, which we shared through email. Yeah, when you're applying for the job in Korea, you have to be really sure about some stuff like we're gonna cover today. And from the beginning, I would love to say, you know, like when you're job seeking, it can evoke different kind of emotions. It can be, you know, like feel insecure or excitement, or it can feel really disappointment. You know, like this happened to me also, like when I was applying for the jobs in Korea. At first, you are expecting too much, like you are feeling, okay, like I'm the #1 in this market, in this industry, in this job or profession. But still, when you're applying for the job, maybe they don't really get back to you. When they get back to you, they don't really give a positive answer to your application. And this is actually disappointing many of us. What we can do about this is basically focus on actually what you are doing, like what you are really willing to do, and don't really lose your hope with those emotions coming up while applying for the job. And it will take, of course, like too much time, especially like the preparation period. You know, like it's same for job seeking, or if it's same for the business. Like if you are willing to do something, then you need to have huge investment in the beginning. Basically, it can be time investment, it can be money investment, it can be development of your profession. But for the beginning, you have to invest so much time and energy on it. And this is actually a really important part also. When you are applying for the job in Korea, you have to understand most of the jobs in Korea, they are not really advertised publicly. It means actually, like, basically you can't find really those informations in the, you know, like the platforms where you are, which is providing information about the employment in Korea. And of course, like it's expensive, time consuming, but still it's not really easy for people who's also hiring people from the internet, like online, especially after Corona, everything moved to the online, and it's not really easy for them to cover, to get information about us. And all they have to do is, like, they have to trust a paper we are providing to them for finding, basically hiring us. But what we can do, if we do well-targeted open applications and personal contacts, that can be actually increasing, like important. It can have really important role when we are applying for the job. What we can do, we can get them directly. And what can help us about this situation? Firstly, I would love to suggest your competence is the key for job seeking skill. When you are searching for the job, of course, you have to show, you know, like how much you are interested in this job, and how much ready you are for this job. And if they feel actually, okay, like this person is not really ready for this position, then you can't really expect high results, like positive results from your application. And also, in order to communicate the most relevant things about yourself and your skills, you must first explore them yourself. Like, laying the groundwork for job seeking means dialogue between your skills and interests, and also the available opportunities. And these things is often requiring is that before you send your first application, you start to reflect upon what you have learned from all the things you have done and experienced in your life, and also consider what about them, what's interesting actually for them also. And each point actually in here, each point in here is really important. And the main thing when you're applying for the job in Korea is the network. If you have good network, if you have people whom you can get actually mentorship, that's going to be really useful for you. And especially I would love to say, you know, like the most positions which is not really publicly advertised, it's becoming increasingly important to meet people. So if you meet people, when you get to know people who are important for your field or your future plans, you'll also gain information about the things you consider important. And I would say job seeking is the process, and in this process you have to, you know, like care about many things. We can start actually from here to like think about what you really want and what can actually do, because we want many positions, right? And we can want A, B, C, D, but what actually we want? And this is also connected with the, you know, like the life plan. If you make a plan for next 5 years, next 10 years, next 15 years, next 20 years, then you can get ready actually to know what exactly you want. Like in the beginning, of course, like you can say, oh, I want to work in, let's say, in the programming position, but later you can say, oh, I want to move to the marketing position. Then you can move to different field, which happened to many of us. But at the end, after 20 years, you are willing to be in the position which is really not connected with those positions, then you have to consider about that. Like if you are feeling, okay, like after 20 years, I want to be, let's say, on the top of this type of company, then what you have to do is you have to focus on that direction, to be number one in that field, to be the most professional person in that field. Then you can get the direction like in the line. But if you just think, okay, like today I need money, then I should just work in this field, tomorrow I can just change to next field, then it will take so much time, so much energy, and also it will mess up the direction to the success in your life. When you are thinking, okay, what you exactly want, this is not really for short term, but you should consider about the long term. Like in long term, what do you really want from this life? And then what can you do in like according to the position? Like if you are willing to go to the A position, then what you can do right now for getting to the A position. If you find the answer for that, then it will be much easier for you to find the organization which is really interesting for you. And finding organization, it can be online, it can be offline. The basic thing, like which I'm suggesting always, is network. Like those online platforms is going to help, but people, they're more helpful than online platforms. And then if you are not in Korea, it's not really easy for you to communicate or to network with the people. Then what you can do is basically you can try those platforms which is providing information in English, which I will mention later about that. And also I mentioned in here, you know, like when you are finding the interesting organization for yourself, you have to also you have to think about your own reflection, writing, information taking, conversations, informational interviews, and etc. These things actually I will mention later one by one, which is really important when you are searching for the job. And after finding interesting organization, then you have to compare the organization's needs to your skills and plan what you could offer them. Because okay, like we found out position like A, I want to be on the top of the A, then I'm going for the A because I have these skills and this A company is really interesting for me. But then you have to give them reason why they have to hire you, why they need you, why they have to you know, like accept all your skills and think, okay, like I really need this person. If you give them the answer, basically, maybe there is no position for you. 10 years before, my professor told me about this. If you are willing, you know, like to enter a company, then what you have to do is basically you have to make position for yourself inside, even if they didn't offer it, but still you can make it. If you talk to them, if you encourage them, okay, you actually need me because of this skills I have, which you really need to enter this market. And this is actually working in Korea, especially when you are offering services for the companies who's willing to expand their businesses overseas or the global markets. And then when you offer them the services, okay, you can provide, and then you get the position for inside the company. You have to introduce yourself, right? Like in detail. Then what you have to do is call the HR of the company to ask about their needs and where to send an application. Because basically, even though in Korea, you know, like most of the things works with the networking, but still there is one thing you have to care about, as even they want to select you, but still they will open the position and they will accept everyone's information, and then you have to appeal, okay, like I'm the number one, and also you have to show them, you know, you are following up well with them. What you can do is you have to keep contacting with the HR to find out information, okay, like if this is the right one, if this is the email, if this person is the right person to contact with. And then if you are answering a job ad, then you can ask for details about the content of the work and the kinds of the people they are looking for. And then after finding out all, complete the documents to highlight what you could offer to them. This is actually connected with here, and here it's connected, but still the basic information and the later, because when you talk to the HR, you already have information, okay, like you offer them like A, B, C. What actually they are interested in is A, and then you focus on the A and put all information, all the background you have related to the A, and encourage them, okay, to hire you. But then you have to send documents to the right person. This is actually also many people having, you know, difficulties when they are applying for the job. They forget about the right email. Especially this happened like on LinkedIn and also those platforms like online platforms where you can apply for the job in Korea locally. If they are asking you to send to the specific email, then you have to focus, you have to check the context. Actually, they post lots of information, okay? Maybe some of you feel, okay, like this is too much information and I don't really have to read all information one by one, but you have to check the exact email, like who's in charge of that position, like the person, the HR person who's in charge of the that company, and you have to share the information with them. If you send it to someone else and who's not really in charge, then they will not really check who you are, what's your resume, like what's written in your resume. Even you did your best, but still they wouldn't really care. And then when you send your resume, most of the people they were complaining. Actually, this one slide is just answering all of your questions, which I got while the application form. When you send your resume and the position was open, and then they close the application, and in a week, if they didn't contact you, what you have to do? then you call to the company, to the right person, and ask them, what's the next step I have to do? Or, what's the results? Don't ask results, but tell them what's the next step, because then it can bring you, maybe you are the only person who applied for that position and they are still considering about that. And I would suggest one thing in here. When you apply for the job, if you speak Korean, some Korean, then it would be really great if you just talk to them in Korean. If you have limited Korean language skills, then you can just start with the Korean language, and then you can move to the English or the other language, which is available in that position. And also, I'd love to mention this. If they are not really requiring any Korean, then you can talk to them in English. That's totally fine. And then it will reflect on the things you did well and what you could do better next time. Like if it's good result, congratulations to you. But if you got the not positive, the answer, then you can focus on, okay, like what things I did wrong, and then you can again and again repeat this circle. And most of the people actually, if they follow this circle, then in the first, even in first try, they can be really successful. And today we will cover many parts which will help you, I think, to find out. Even I will not mention one by one your resumes, but I will cover everything. Then you will feel, okay, like what I did wrong and how I should change it. And when we are talking about the job finding skills, like job seeking situations, the groundwork for the job seeking includes recognizing your skills and the interests. Like they entail self-reflection, which may be a lifelong process. Unfortunately, that's true. And also, it's up to you how profoundly you want to reflect and what the questions that are particularly relevant to you are. And you must also choose the best way to tackle these questions. Like many find it helpful to write the things down or to talk to others during the self-reflection process. Like I would suggest actually write down your thoughts on a piece of paper, and then keep these things with you when your thought process visible, while making it easier to return to your thinking without having to start from the beginning. Like maybe you can just create a folder on your computer with all your notes and reflections, no matter how random is it, and you can make a mind map in another, it can be also another good method for you. And you have to be really careful, like when you are doing your seeking your groundwork, you have to be really careful and focus on the quality over quantity. And this is also really important when you are making your CV, when you are preparing for job interviews, and also when you are connecting with others. I would love to mention things like think about why you choose the field of your degree. Like, what do you hope to achieve with your studies? Or is it good to set goals and think about the future? With this, actually, you will gain more motivation for your studies when you know why are you studying and what you are striving for. I put some questions in here, and also these questions, it can be really simple for you, but still you have to consider about, what do you actually enjoy? If, let's say, and today when I am giving this lecture, I have to mention, I think this is my duty. I have to mention that I made same mistakes. Like, I really didn't enjoy to sit in front of the computer and do C++, do programming languages, which is not really interesting for me. But I was really enjoying to talk to the people. I was really enjoying when I was sharing my knowledge with the people. And life forced me, like to go to the direction which I really enjoyed. And when you consider about the probably some of you like in young age, which again I did same mistake when I was young, like I was running for the money, like which job will give me more salary, then I should just go that direction. But day by day it was really struggle for me. It was too much pressure and too much hard work. But still, like even you do good, like maybe you are you have really good skills, you can follow up with many different jobs. But still, one thing, if you are not really enjoying your job, then it will be really boring for you. Like you'll not really enjoy what you do, and at the end it doesn't really matter how much money you get, but still you will be really tired of living that. And then you have to think like, what are the things you like the most in your studies? Like what were the best courses and why? Let's say my bachelor degree was computer engineering and I was really enjoying the business classes. Why? Like these questions you have to ask yourself before actually entering to the interviews, before trying to work for someone. Then you have to mention these answers, like you have to cover these answers for yourself. Then you can actually go to someone and tell, okay, I think I wanna work in this company, why I want to work in this company, or I wanna work in this position exactly specifically like this position, and why. And also, if you had your dream job, like what would your typical working day be like in concrete terms? Like what would the environment be like? Or what would you like your work community to be like? Or what are your long-term career goals? This is also actually, this question is answering actually the life plan, as I mentioned, for 20 years, like where you want to see yourself in 20, 30 years. And that will bring you direct answer. And then you have to care about your skills, like what kind of skills you want to get, and what kind of actually skills will be helpful when you are searching for the job. Like what did you learn in school? What kind of knowledge you got, or what kind of questions and topics did you focus on? What type of understanding did you gain? Today I'm sitting in here as the director of the Gangnam Global Village Center. It's just because of, like I was focusing on the internationals, like foreigners' life in Korea, like how's the policy for them, how's the life for them, how's the visa for them, how's the even employment industry for them, startup industry for them. Like I was mentioning one by one, I was checking every day in my daily life what's the policy and how it's going to be. And this actually bring me to this position. Like those interests, they bring me to this position. And I'm sure like if you focus on the fields you are interested in, then it will take you to the direction also like you want it to be in 20 years. And understand me in the right way. Like if you consider about your 20 years plan, like after 20 years, where you want to be, most probably like those people like who had consultation with me one-on-one, those people, they wrote down like in 5 years where they want to be, 10 years where they want to be, 20 years where they want to be. And they reached that position, like which they were imagining in 20 years. They got it in 5 years in Korea. And you have to understand, like where you want to be. If you know that, then you know which direction you have to go. Like in life, you will have A, B, C, D companies, and you don't know which one to choose, right? As I mentioned, like most of the companies, Korean companies, when they are willing to hire foreigners, they don't know how to hire them. Like they don't know which skills they have to focus on, like what kind of like which country people, or what background of people they should select. But in one point, it's same for us also. Like we don't know which direction to go, right? And when you don't know which direction to go, what you can do is like, if you know in 20 years where you want to be, then it will be really helpful to choose the company. You can just, okay, in 20 years, I want to be in this field. So company B is more connected to the position which I was imagining in 20 years. And that will help you a lot. And also, like there are lots of questions, we can mention in here, like your academic skills, kind of like what kinds of general skills did you learn? That can be language. Like let's say if they're selecting a person for the marketing position, then of course like your language skills can be really helpful. Like if you speak like specific language, even that language can be used by I don't know 5,000 people, but still like it would be really great if you mention in your resume. And also your communication, interaction skills, IT skills, or public speaking skills, or teamwork skills, organizational skills. These skills actually, it would be really great if you can mention. It would be even much better if you got any license for that, if you got any certificates, let's say, because I saw many people, when they are coming and doing consultation with us, we ask them actually to bring their resume, and then we focus on, like changing their resumes like in the proper way to find jobs easily. But when they bring the resumes, I can see, oh, like I am really good at interaction with people. I'm really good at communication. I'm really good at with these languages, but I didn't see actually if they have any background. Like, okay, like I went to this program and I got this certificate. I graduated from this training program. I did this internship, and this internship helped me to improve my organizational skills, etc. And then more than that, what type of skills would have been useful, and what kind of skills would you like to learn? This is also really important to ask yourself before you graduate, because if you think about these skills, like after graduation, when you start searching for the jobs, then this can actually force you, like to invest more time. And that's why I'm suggesting most of the people, like if you are willing to work in Korea, it would be really great for you to start in your last years in university. Like for bachelor degree, I would suggest in your third year, first or second semester, it would be really great timing for you to start. If you are in your master degree, let's say your master degree is 2 years, then as soon as actually you start the master degree, like after one semester, since like you get used to the life of the university, then you should focus on actually finding the jobs, trainings, or researchers, like in your field. And then that will help you, like before your graduation, you can, like get the direction, okay, where I'm going to end up, where I'm going to start my career in Korea. If you're in PhD, actually from the beginning, it would be totally okay, like to consider about like the things you can, the employment industries like you are considering about to join. You can just search for them, especially like in case of the PhDs, even like working in university will bring you enough network, like to get a job after graduation. I know actually most of us, we had actually difficult time in Corona period, just because of, like we didn't have face-to-face interaction, and it's forcing people, like to have hard time. And also it's not really easy to communicate like with the professors, with our colleagues, to make more connections and, like to get their help when we are applying for the next job. And also, you have to consider what kind of feedback did you in your life? What kind of feedback did you get from others? This is also really important. Like when you just think about, like when you consider about your thoughts, that can be also harmful when you are searching for the job, because if you are, like thinking, okay, I'm really good at this, and maybe you are really good at that, but in just first attempt, if you fail, then you don't want to try second, because you feel okay, like, oh, I got disappointed of myself, like how I can fail from this, or how I don't get this job, but the person B got this job. It would be really great. It would be really helpful if you ask others also, and ask them, when you prepare, let's say, like the self-page, like the self-introduction paper, like in 30 seconds, then ask people, talk to the people and tell them, oh, what do you think about this? Especially the people, like if you talk to your friends, like in same age or same experience, this will be really harmful. Like they can guide you completely in the wrong direction. Not because of they don't like you, but it would be probably because of, like they don't have any experience in that field. But if you get guidance from someone like who's elder than you or who has more experience than you, then they can actually guide you a little bit more about, okay, like maybe if you change this direction, that would be helpful. Especially if you ask those people, like in same field, probably they will have much more information, how to approach to those companies in same field, or maybe they can even introduce you, because as I mentioned, networking is really important in Korea, and if you have a network in specific field, it would be much easier to enter it field with the suggestion or recommendation of someone. And also, when we are talking about the opportunities and demand, like we have actually lots of opportunities, when we are applying for the job. Like after charting your skills, like it's important to determine where there is a demand for them. Like you will be more successful in drafting your job seeking documents if you have a good general understanding of both skills and the things on the job market, employers and positions that you come across them. You can also expand on the notes you made at self-reflection stage. If you cannot find your dream jobs immediately, it may be useful to start with the job that will help you to get started on your career. And I think, like, it would be really good, like if you read through the job advertisements and the job descriptions you like. Let's say what kind of position which like are interesting for you and which is available for you. And also talk to the people with jobs that might be interesting to you in some way. Like let's say I'm interested in, like I'm working in completely different field. Like it can be also interesting for those people who's working, but they want to move also to other industry. It's totally okay. And Korean market is really ready for this. Like when you worked in field A, then you can easily move to the field B, but you have to show them, why you are moving, what's the reason. Let's say 7 years before, I stopped my actually engineer background, and what I did, I started marketing field. It's not because of you have experience, like full experience in marketing, but you have to have something connected. It can be I was working in a project, and while doing this development, I felt okay, like marketing is more suitable for me and I can help my company more in this field. Then you can actually even change your profession inside same company. Most of the actual startups these days, in Korea, what they do, they let you first, they hire you. When they hire you, they give you a chance to choose, okay, the position where you want to work, okay, this field. Then you start in there, and then if you feel okay, like this is not really fitting with me, then you move to the B, then you move to the C, and you can just keep moving, and you can try different experiences and see, okay, this position is much more suitable with me, and then I can just continue in this field. And also when we are talking about the career paths, especially like the LinkedIn, I would say LinkedIn is one of the best platforms where you can get more chances for getting hired by like professionals or those giant companies. And why I'm suggesting LinkedIn in here, because like it's giving you more chances to expand your network even online. As I mentioned, because of the corona, we didn't have really any chance, to meet those people who can help in our profession, in our job career path. But LinkedIn is bringing those people to us. If you, like if you post regularly about your job, or if you are showing, keep showing, like what skills you have, then definitely there will be specific companies, like they're trying to approach you and try to encourage you to work with them. After all, like what I would suggest, this is also a suggestion of us for the startups, like when you are meeting with the people, you have to have elevator pitch. Probably most of you already heard about elevator pitch, and then some people, they call it like profile text. Then you can just use, like the directions. Okay, like my main area of interest are this. In my studies, I have focused on this. And if you have answers for these questions, this is like basically like if you continue these sentences, then you are ready for the interviews. Like it will be really easy for you to pass the interviews, because in an interview they check how ready you are, for this position, and how motivated you are. And if you can show, like the positive side of you, then definitely you are going to get that position. And if you say information, it's not really like the results can be different. So what you have to do is just try to complete these sentences so they can express the things you have realized by reflecting on yourself and your options. We can say like, let's say my main areas are this areas, and in my studies I have focused on what. Maybe it can be connected with your, like the major, or maybe you can actually move to from A field to B field, and that can be also helpful, like when you are searching for the job too. By the way, like I'm keep talking, like if you guys have any questions, like it would be really great if you just post on the chat group, like otherwise, like later I will give you, like all of you chances, like to talk. But still, if you have any question, like you would love to share, in the middle of the class, like you can just share it on the group chat, and then I'll try to answer as soon as possible while doing presentation. This information actually, like I was talking about the elevator pitch always, but I didn't mention these parts. And then especially these days, I am really considering, like after Corona, these things actually we were not really used to do before Corona, but after Corona, I think we have to change a lot, especially in case of, when we are applying for the job, we have to be ready, like to share, like information, and also get information in phone call. Like phone calls are a good way of making personal contacts, like with the potential employers. Doing a phone call, you will be able to gather additional information on the position, which you are interested in, or ask about the other potential opportunities in the organizations. And also, I would love to mention one thing, like sometimes you may wish to call after you have sent an application to ask how the recruitment process is progressing. And this can be also, like helpful to you. And preparing those phone calls, like while preparing actually phone calls, like you have to be really careful, like especially you have to read again, and check the main things about the organizations, like their website, and the, like the write down actually what you have to ask them, what questions you want to ask, and how you're going to introduce yourself. Like it can be with the like you can give them elevator pitch, but it would be not really good idea. Like if you give too much information, like if you make it short, hello, this is the person from this, and I applied for, like I'm applying for this position, and then you can ask the questions like you are willing to know, like the answers. But prepare those questions beforehand, because as soon as they pick up the phone, you don't know, like like what situation it will be. So it would be really great if you prepare those questions, like write down all of them beforehand. Also, if you are uncertain about like whom to call, you can call to the company's switchboard and ask who would be the right contact for you to contact with. Like it can make you maybe nervous, like, but still you have to understand one thing. It's really, really useful. And when you're contacting with them, let the person on the phone answer your questions without interrupting them. Like if you cut them like in the middle, then maybe you'll not get the direct answer, like for your question. All right, and we have actually many questions. All right. In case of the actual resume part, like I will cover soon. I want to just mention one by one, but please, just keep posting, like what questions you have. And as soon as I finish the presentation, I will answer your questions. Like in phone calls, like you can use these sentences, which is really, like the useful. Even you can do screenshot for this, like, hello, this is Nihat. I would like to ask some questions about the open position of director of the center. Do you have a moment? Then they will never say no, honestly. If they are busy, they will say, okay, I will get back to you, and they will call as soon as they get free. And also, my current situation is this, like, it can have also different, like the directions you can approach them. Everybody has their own way, but I mentioned in here like few ways, but you can also make your own way to approach to the person in charge, like the HR. And also, when we are talking about the networking, networking actually means making connection, right? And that are I would say, like if those people that are not really relevant for your career, we can't say it's just networking, like people to know, and also networking I would use for professional career. That's more important. And when you are networking with the people, there are things you have to consider about, like networking is not about insincere self-interest. Like instead it should be like a natural process of meeting with new people, and ideally also providing reciprocal support. Like creating new contacts often requires that you venture out of your comfort zone and be active and creative. However, keep in mind that most people do want to help you, and everybody needs help sometimes, even at work. Like definitely we have to be ready for the situation. And of course, networking is really, really important part of job seeking. And if an organization wants to hire new people, then maybe they will not really post it online, but what they will do, they will contact with those people who's working for them already, or who's in the same industry, whom they know, who's connected with the person who's working in the same company. And also, like you can be potential applicant, like if they know you somehow, or somehow if you're connected. However, the goal of meeting people doesn't have to be directly to find a job. Like through conversation, you'll gain tactics like how and what kind of different fields and organizations you can join, or you'll be able to compare this information with your own career goals. These conversations actually will also help you demonstrate your motivation during a job interview and indicate that you have already investigated the position. Choose your style of networking based on what kind of interaction you like the best, and select the networking channel that reaches the people who are relevant to you. However, we also suggest you that, if you push yourself to think outside of the box, like many students have discovered new opportunities by LinkedIn and contacting interesting people there to meet for a quick coffee. Like this is actually happening to me. Like I have met many people on LinkedIn, and you know, like at the first they came to me, you know, like just to make a network. But then actually, when I'm meeting with the people, you know, like if I have their, if I know their background, then it's really easy for me to introduce them to those people who would really need their help. And of course, like we have to mention about the social media channels also. Like we can't really skip this part. Social media is constantly changing, enabling increasingly diverse ways of keeping in touch for individuals and communities. You know, it has also opened up new dimensions for job seeking. Even though in this guide we only discuss, you know, like the like a few of them, but we have to think there are also other applications and websites that provide opportunities for people who's seeking for the jobs and networking. If I have to mention LinkedIn, you know, it's a social media platform intended for professional networking and job seeking. And that's why I would recommend, you know, like probably most of you like who's living in Korea, you would mention, okay, like people in Korea, they don't really have LinkedIn account. No, you're totally wrong. You know, like we have 50 people in Korea, and there are over 5 million people who's using actually LinkedIn. So like I would say like 10% of the people, and if you consider, you know, like the population of foreigners is 2.5 million, then 2 times more people using actually LinkedIn. So it means actually companies they are using, and those people who's connected globally, who has a higher position, they have accounts on LinkedIn. So I would definitely suggest you to use, you know, LinkedIn. And it's really useful, you know, like when you're seeking for the information, or when you're trying to make the profiling, you know. And also it's really good for networking, and obviously for the job seeking too. We can have actually, you know, like the informational interview parts. And informational interviews, it's an opportunity to gain useful information about the potential employers and positions, while yeah, it can be really useful, like to gain useful information about the potential employers and positions while creating personal contact in the world of the work. Basically, the idea is to contact someone who already has a career and who would perhaps bring new perspectives to your thinking. You can find additional information about organizations you find interesting, or approach a role model who has a job that corresponds to your career dreams. For example, you can look for alumni from your field of education, or interesting profiles on the social media forums like LinkedIn, or ask your existing contacts whom you should talk to. I used also actually this help. Like I am using this help a lot. Those people whom I am connected to, they are guiding me every time with the contacts where I have to reach and how I have to reach. And also maybe you would wonder why someone would spend their time with you, right? But people usually want to be helpful, and if you interview alumni, they will see as a way to support the community and help younger colleagues. Meanwhile, as a student, you may be able also like offer new ideas, or as a person, you know, like who's new in their career, they can also share their thoughts about, you know, like the specific situations. People usually like to talk about their work once they realize that you are genuinely interested. And also I would recommend that, you know, like you you call to a suitable person and suggest that to have a lunch or coffee, and then it would be really great, like to discuss about your like career path. Don't tell them, like find a job for me or something, but what you can do is just get their suggestions, like getting suggestions and letting them know about your career path will be really helpful, like to keep you in the mind. Okay, like this person is searching for this kind of position and has this kind of experience. When we are talking about the documents, when we are job seeking, that's the main two documents are CV and cover letter, or like like the I would say in Korea it's like cover letter and CV. When we are talking about the CV, what kind of CV? Like CV is, like this is completely like big topic, and I will organize another specific, like the program, just talk about the CV, because in here I also did screenshot from the, like from the internet, the template screenshot, but this is not actually suitable for foreigners. You have to understand one thing, like if you want to be really successful, then of course you have to make Korean version, but many people making this mistake. They are making their resumes in Korean, but the Korean version is translated from English. Like we have different styles, like there's a European style, CVs. There are even, like I would say Korean style CVs. They will be like, each country, I feel like they have their own specific way to make CVs, and this, even let's say back in our country we are using European style CVs, but one thing we have to mention, like they focus on more stuff than the just basic European style. So in case of Korea, let's say in European style resumes, like you have to mention detailed information, what position, where, and what kind of work, what kind of tasks you did, right? But in Korea, you never mention about that in your resume. Those parts would be discussed in interviews. So what you mention is just short introduction about yourself, and then basic background of the like the education, and then work background, and then your certificates, your licenses, your social life, etc. Before even, like there were many CV styles in Korea, they were putting their height, weight, blah blah blah, but now it's actually disappeared. So they have much more simple CV versions. Actually you can download CVs, like from those like online platforms, but again I'm mentioning, like if you want to get like more specific answer, like how to create a resume for yourself, then I will organize one Oh, hello everyone. Sorry for we had some technical issues in here, and then fortunately we solved it like really fast, so we can just continue with our sessions. Just a second. It would be really great. Sorry for actually inconvenience, but it would be really great if you guys can copy those questions again and post in the chat room, so I can just cover, because I can't really see those questions you asked just beforehand. So please just share your questions again. Like if you just copy and post again, then I can see it well. Let me just share the screen again, and we can continue our lecture. And all right, just a second. All right, maybe I should just answer questions first, and then we can move on the presentation. All right, as I asked, this is the first question. As I asked in the application, can you recommend reliable apps or websites in English for job listings? Not for E2 English teachers. You mentioned LinkedIn, but it's riddled with scams. Facebook also has scams, and also most of the apps and websites in Korea are in Korean. Okay, this is actually a really good question, and I was going to actually cover this part in today's class. What I would love to mention is, firstly, we can talk about basic programs like Job in Korea and Salam, right? This is actually platforms in English. But if we are willing to get, like the informations like in English, then people and job. This is really a great platform, like to get connected with the companies who's willing to hire foreign language speakers. And also, I would say, it's not really easy to get out of, anyway, those scammers, they will be in everywhere. Of course, they're gonna be any applications you use, still they will be everywhere. Just a second. I think this is right now, it's much better, right? So I would suggest people and job, and I would suggest also Glassdoor. I would suggest, those platforms which is providing informations in English. Also, I would suggest also, to be honest, Craigslist, because even though there are lots of scammers, as you mentioned already, but still you can get lots of useful information. And while the lecture, as I mentioned again, when we are searching for the job, we don't know where to search, right? It's same for those people also, who's giving the job to us. They don't know where to post. If they find, okay, here's the platform. This is, I think, it can be really great startup for, those people who's willing to open their business in Korea. It can be really great, actually, industry to start with, because there are lots of open positions, but people, they don't know where to post it. And there are lots of people who's seeking for the job, but they don't know where to find it. And let me move to the second question. I'm from engineering background and I'm applying for the jobs via LinkedIn. I'm not getting any job despite my profile. I feel that my resume is not reaching the HR itself. Can you let me know the reason? Okay, as I mentioned, you know, like firstly, most of the people, they are not getting answer because maybe you are not really person, you know, like which is who has the, you know, like the suitable resume for that position. This can be first reason. Second reason, if you have applied the position for exactly for yourself, maybe, you know, like when you apply for the job, you have to check how long really experience they want. Maybe they want 10 years experience and you are 21 or like 18. I mean, you know, like if it's not really suiting to you, then they will just ignore your resume. Or, you know, like maybe they are searching for only Korean speakers, or they're searching for the specific visa holders. That's why, you know, depending on the situation, it can be different, like why they don't really check it. But we can have actually in this situation, I would say, you know, like it would be really great if we can have one-on-one session and I can check your resume and let you know exactly what's the problem. And here's another question. Question is maybe not for today's session as not enough time. Typical question during the interviews in Korea, please. Typical questions, actually, I prepared today for our session, but because of the, you know, like the connection problem, I couldn't cover. But basic questions, they are really, you know, like firstly, just short introduction about yourself. Like, you have to be ready for this short introduction about yourself. Secondly, you have to be ready to talk about, you know, what you wrote in your resume. Like, as I mentioned, you know, in European style, like you are talking about your experiences in detail, right? But in case of Korea, you are mentioning only those backgrounds is really short information. And when you are mentioning those short informations in your resume, they are using those short informations to ask in detail in interviews. Like, let's say you mentioned you worked in company A for this long as in this position, but then they're gonna ask you, you know, like what kind of tasks you had, or what kind of projects you got, or what kind of applications you developed, and then you have to give the specific answer. Many people actually, they failed like in the, you know, like big companies interviews just because of the applications, the programs they made, they failed. And when the project is failed, actually, you know, like the big companies, they prefer actually to hire a person who has already, like, you know, like unique background. And if the project you are in failed, then it's not really easy, you know, like to enter giant companies easily in Korea. Next question: do you have recommendation for companies which focus on the hiring foreigners? Thank you. Well, actually, I'm getting information from the foreign companies, you know, who would love to hire, but I'm not really allowed to share in here, you know, like what kind of companies they are willing to hire foreigners. But what I can say is you can use actually tricks. I will also have a separate session about this, and all of those people who's in here, I will share the link with you, you know, when I'm opening about that lecture, you know, like on that, let's say in specific platform, in the, even it's in Korean, even you don't speak in Korean, but the platform itself is in Korean, but still you can find actual jobs suitable for you. And there are tricks with that, and I will actually, because it's not really, you know, like short information I have to focus on, and I have to talk more than an hour, you know, like to give detailed information about that for you. I must find where you change the language. Saramin for me is in Korean. Yes, Saramin is in Korean, but actually you can, if you use Google Chrome, you can actually change it to English. Okay, let me, okay, someone already, thank you actually, guys. Like, since someone already shared people and job, Glassdoor is Glassdoor, Craigslist, That's right. Saramin, people and job, and also I would love to mention like few other platforms like Facebook. You know, like I didn't mention in our presentation, but still, Facebook, I think it's also really useful. It's because of, you know, like I would say most of the people actually who's in Korea, they already have Facebook, and Korean people, they were using more Facebook than much more Facebook than LinkedIn. So foreign residents, they made lots of groups, you know, like to help each other. Like if you check in any field, you can find actually Facebook groups like for visa related issues or law related issues, etc. And in those platforms, when Koreans, they are getting in, they post about the information, you know, like positions in their companies. I think you can get also jobs from those platforms also. Is there a way to change the language in Saramin? I told, as I mentioned, you know, you can use Google Chrome. Visa is big one, actually, that's true. Visa, depending on your visa, actually, you know, like you can enter to the companies easily, or it can get really complicated for you. If I have to mention, you know, if you are a student, then like if you are a student in Korea, if you are a language course student, basically you can't really get hired full-time as a full-time job worker. What you can do is like you can do part-time job only after 6 months of living in Korea. So for 6 months you can't do anything. In case of the bachelor degree, same as, you know, like the language course, you have to wait for 6 months, and after 6 months with the permission from immigration, then you can start actually doing part-time job in 20, like in a week, 20 hours. And basically, you know, like when you have a specific visa, they are focusing on, let's say in case of the student, then what's your actual reason to come to Korea? That's study, right? Then you should focus on studies. And in case of the working, like as a professional, it's E7 visa, which is like professional working visa, or if it's non-professional working visa, it's E9 visa. And those people who lived in Korea and, you know, who studied, and if they have enough points, they can go for F2 visa, which is residency visa, and which is like much better than actually most of other visas. But F5 is like PR, like permanent residency, and you can do anything you want with that visa. In case of the marriage migrants, those also like who's having F6 visa, they can just do job seeking employment activities as they wish. And also, yes, I will organize the sessions today. Actually, I can see actually how much you guys are interested in, you know, like each of those information I was sharing, like CVs, cover letters. Okay, like I will just separate all of them one by one to cover in detail, because in an hour I felt, okay, like I can't really finish this presentation. I want to mention, you know, like how you have to create CV, like in detail, one by one, what's important, what kind of information you have to mention in there, what kind of actual information you should just take out of your resume, how big should be the resume or the cover letter should be, or in interviews, you know, like what kind of information you shouldn't share, or what kind of information you should appeal more. This information I will just try to organize one separate program and let you know one by one. In case of to be honest, you know, like this program, like I didn't really think like people would be coming in and, you know, like to learn about like this lecture who would work in factories, right? And of course, there are lots of scammers, especially on Facebook, LinkedIn. There are lots of scammers, but you have to give it a try. Like, don't pay anyone, you know, beforehand for finding a job for you or something. You know, like if someone trying to help you, try to meet in person and actually go and check, you know, like what you're exactly going to do. And here's another question: who is a holder of the D2-3 visa for master's degree? However, I have been told that I couldn't apply for an internship by having D2-3. Do you know how a master degree student visa may get a chance to apply for any internship in South Korea, if possible? Thank you. This is also, like it would be really great if we can actually talk one-on-one, because I need to get a little bit more information about your case. Like if you came to Korea as a scholarship student in the on the specific, like the government organization, because that's also changing the case. Those people who's getting scholarships, most of the scholarships, they are not allowing you to work in Korea. That's why it's better, like to make sure everything before you start something. And I would suggest actually, like if you have questions about the visa related issues, it would be really great if you call 1345. 1345. This is actually immigration's call center. You can actually ask them any question, and they support like 17 languages, so it's really great, like to talk to them maybe in your language. And about the KIP classes, to be honest, like I'm mentoring the KIP. Like if I can help, I would help, but I think it would be really great, like if you contact them directly, like in the KIP test website, they have actually all contacts, emails, and also those organizations who's providing KIP classes, they're in charge of sharing information with you. And in case of the KIP, like who can listen KIP? Anyone living or working in Korea who's living over 90 days. If you are living in Korea more than 90 days, like you are getting the ARC card, like the identity card, right? Foreign residence or identity card. At that time, you are actually eligible for the Korea Immigration Integration Program. Probably some of you curious about what's Korea Immigration Integration Program. That's actually the program which is providing you all-in-one information about like Korean language, culture, society, history, economy, like everything, even politics. Still, yeah, like those people who's on the D10 also, they can apply for KIP. And those people who's on the D10 is actually, there are two types of the D10. Like one of them is job seeking, and another of them the completely different field. So like when you're applying, when you're on the D10, you can try as much as possible, like to find a job. And some people actually, because they don't have any information about the visa, they fail. They fail when they apply for the job. Like they get the position, but because of their visa, and the company doesn't know actually how to give, how much struggle they're gonna have while hiring this person. That's why, yes, exactly, they're accepting it as a headache. But what you can do is actually you can get help from different organizations about this. Like you can call 1345 and tell them, okay, like I have D10 and I got the acceptance letter from this company. What kind of documents we're gonna need for like getting in this company and have proper visa to work in there? Then they will, they can share via email. You can also actually forward it to the company, and they can find out, oh, actually this is really simple information, because they don't really need too much information when they're hiring a foreigner. But actually when the companies, like local companies, they are hearing about the visa, they think, okay, this is really going to be complicated. That's why first of all, before getting hired, you should get information. Okay, like what kind of information I should share, what kind of documents they have to prepare, and you can even do it, yourself. You can just take the papers and go to the immigration and just get your visa. And in case of the one-on-one meetings with me, if you guys actually enter our Facebook page, you can just see, you know, like first post about our center, and then if you click and put the information, there will be sessions one-on-one, you know, like to meet with me. And all right, I think time is really fast, and I didn't imagine this is going to be, you know, like finishing in this short period. Thank you all for, you know, like staying with us until this time. And if you got any questions, like more questions, we will have more, you know, like this kind of sessions. Please let me know. Like I would really get your feedbacks. Like since I emailed all of you, I want to really get feedbacks. Like what kind of information more interesting for you? Like if it's resume, then resume making, then our next session will be about the resumes. If it's about the cover letter, then I can organize the lecture about the cover letter, or interviews, like depending on your interest, or even the online platforms, how to register in there, what, like how to, even you don't speak Korean, how you can just get registered, how to get registered in the local job seeking platforms. On Facebook, if you just type our center's name, Gangnam Global Village Center, it's actually first post, like last post mentioning about, you know, like the, yes, exactly, that's the one. All right, then thank you so much for your time, guys, and hope to see you soon again in different event of us. As a member of our center, actually, you can, you know, like you can join as a member in different programs, and when you are registering, like if you want also consultation, you have to register again. All right, thank you so much for your time, and hope to see you again in the next event. If you got, again, you know, like if you are interested in more about different events, just let me know, so we will just organize those events for you, and we'll invite also other professionals from different fields. Maybe I can invite, you know, like the engineers, or I can invite, you know, like the specific person from your field to get and share information for you. All right, thank you. Yes, today's session was until here, and we'll see you in next event. Thank you. If you have any suggestions, please share via email. Thank you.